Hi, host Eric here, talking with Fence People with host Zachary, and we're talking about the subject of BFFs. Because Zachary asked me, I was talking about my band with him, and he asked me about Corey if that was and he sort of paused for a second looking for an appropriate term. But I think the appropriate term is BFF. And I expressed to him that I think it's one of those things you don't really know if you have one or not until you're fairly old. Because a real BFF is going to be somebody that a relationship persists with for decades. And even if you're in the midst of a 1 or 2 year long time period of intense hanging outedness, that doesn't necessarily mean that person's going to be a long-term fixture in your life. So then I don't remember what the next thing was that we were saying. Where were we after that? I don't
I was
know.
talking about my one of my best friends who is also an INTP, and how we we're very similar people. Like we have a lot of the same experiences. I guess internal experiences that we can talk about with each other. But there have been issues before in our friendship because of TI, dominating personalities, and the reason those issues have arose is that we we tend to agree on so many things that when something comes about or a subject that our TI has led us to different conclusions on, then we have
Watch out!
conflict.
The Battle of the INTPs. Oh no, motherfucking! Ah!
Spill your
Yeah!
soda.
Yeah, I spilled my soda. Oh my god, that's just fucking my every moment of my whole life. That's my whole life right there. My whole life wearing a jacket is fucking knocking shit over. Every time I wear a jacket, I'm knocking a drink over. Why? Because the jacket is bigger than my body. It's wider than my body, you see? So it knocks over things. It shouldn't knock over. Because, well, I mean, it should, but if it weren't wider than my body. That's my important message tonight. Friends, don't wear clothes that are wider than your body. You run the risk of knocking over drinks on surfaces that are at the height of the hem of the garment in question. Thanks for
That was a good
watching.
one.
What? So, okay, all that notwithstanding, similar worldviews, but you fight when you disagree about something.
I think it's because we've or it's ironic that so our we both have the inferior FP, and so we both have the similar experience of just like not being able to connect with other people, and it being bothersome to us. And it's ironic that we have almost built an FE related bond based around not having good FE in general. So
Right.
we share a lot of experiences of like you know how it's like with interacting with other people or interacting with family and stuff like that. And when it comes to worldviews, we generally we used to when I first met him, we both pretty much had the same uh, views on pretty much everything. I and then like over time we just went our own direction, and then
Regarding the
I don't know.
family thing, see, that's interesting to me because it's not something that I'm really familiar with. My interactions with my family, I don't know what to say about it except I've never had that feeling of like exacerbation with my family. Really, my parents, they always seemed very reasonable to me. So
Right.
I mean, I was raised by rationalists. My parents are atheists and raised me atheists, and my dad is always anti-religion and stuff like that. When you're raised in that environment, it's hard as an NT to feel like, you know, my family is not supportive, or my family environment is not well meshed with my nature, right? Which is what I think you experienced. My family
Yeah, I
environment
still continue to experience.
my family environment was well meshed with my nature, which is to say my parents wanted to take me to the symphony and stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
And I went down to they had, we had season tickets to USC football, and we'd go to the nice tailgating things, and sometimes we'd go to the university parties where they'd serve like the cheese and the wine and shit, and the rich white people would get drunk in their rich white people way, rather than in the low class way that people get drunk. They would, oh, yeah, you periodically say, oh, I need to sit down. It's like it's like that kind of drinking. Um, and because my dad liked to drink, and we'd go to the fucking Mark Taper Forum. We'd go to the Hollywood Bowl to watch, like jazz concerts and stuff, right? And my dad would try to or feel hip or something, and wow, this is a really boss band, like I don't know. My experience was it had its own faint absurdity, but my parents were both intellectuals fundamentally. So it's a different experience than what you went through. I don't think your parents were like that necessarily, right?
A lot of my childhood experience with my dad was me walking around in the woods during hunting season, complaining about my legs and the fact that I wanted to go home. That was a lot of my or sitting in a fucking a fucking like I guess I think they're called blinds for about 10 hours straight, waiting on a turkey that's not going to show up.
Did it ever show up?
No, I once I shot a turkey and missed because I was shooting right-handed and I'm left-eye dominant, and so my fucking perception was all messed up. And
Your left eye, but right hand dominant?
yep,
How does that happen?
I don't know. See, I didn't know that until after I had the experience. So now if I go hunting again, I gotta wear like an eye patch over my left eye, so it'll adjust to my right eye. I'll be able to accurately shoot.
Why don't you just close your left eye?
Say again?
Why don't you just close your left eye?
Because I didn't know what I was doing. He just assumed I was right.
No, but why would you have to wear an eye patch though? Why wouldn't you just close your eye?
I don't know. I kind of want to wear an eye patch. I'm curious. I'm trying to find an excuse to wear an eye patch.
Well, look, that's why I'm asking. I'm looking for a good sound excuse to wear an eye patch as well. I'm thinking you might be onto something here. Of course they are. How did you lose your eye? Is a question you have to be prepared to answer in a curious fashion, right? It's, the last person who asked me that, I asked, "How did you lose your mind?" And then just walk away, right?
Yeah. See, most of my experience with my dad was hunting, fishing. Fishing, like, here's my how I feel about fishing. If I think about
Hold on
fishing,
1 second. Compton and Lacey, shut up!
they good?
Compton. Yeah, I think so.
If I think about fishing in the abstract, or if I think about a past experience of fishing, it always sounds really ideal and really good to me. It's like, oh, this calming experience of sitting by the water, just thinking, reflecting about things. But anytime I actually participate or engage in fishing, I'm always bored out of my fucking mind. Every single time.
You're always what?
Bored out of my mind.
Bored? Fishing's one thing that doesn't bore me, but I think it depends in the context in which you're fishing. Like,
It does. Now, if I'm with someone I like talking to, like, I told Faith that I'd be down to go fishing with her someday. I would take her fishing, and that would be enjoyable. But fishing with my dad, I mean, he doesn't. We don't get along. We don't get along outside of fishing. Why would we get along with fishing? You know?
Well, I see why you don't like fishing and you find it boring, and I like fishing. Because, you see, for me, fishing is the one activity that I go and be an INTP. And I'm silent. And I'm not talking to anybody. And I'm just looking at the water. And I'm messing with my hook. And I'm just fishing in silence, you know? And it's the one time when I feel like I imagine an introvert feels when they're by themselves and just like not having a lot of stimuli, and they go like, I can relax. There's not too much stimuli. It's what I hear introverts express, and it's what I imagine an introvert feels when they're experiencing the goodness of going to introvertedness. Is what I think I experience when I go fishing, and I don't care if I catch anything at all. You know, I mean, I try anyway because that's what makes it happen.
I've
It's
never been
like,
fishing alone.
yeah, I usually go fishing alone.
Yeah, I've never had. Maybe I should. Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I just need to get some equipment and just go on my own. Maybe I'll enjoy that.
Well, I tell you why I like it is because it's enough of an activity. Like, there's something I'm trying to do, right? Okay. And it takes a little bit of thought. And it takes a little bit of maintenance work, which is kind of annoying, but it's not that hard. So, like, if your hook gets stuck on something and it breaks off, you got to put a new hook on, you know? Like that kind of maintenance kind of stuff. And if your bait goes off your hook, but your hook comes back fine, then you got to put new bait on it, you know? And then you got to move your weight up and you move your weight down. You move your float up and you move your float down because you think, I think it's a little bit too long, or I think it's a little too short. And then you go, okay, well, I think it's about right now. I'm going to try over there, over there, over there for a little while. And you try to hit all the little spots over there, right? But the time frame on this whole process is completely unstructured. So I might, for some stretch of time, just sit there and smoke some weed and just let the pole sit in wherever it is while I'm thinking about something. And if I like want to do something all of a sudden, if I get a little antsy for a second, I just reel it and do the next stage of that thing, right? It doesn't preclude me from thinking about other stuff, but it involves its own thinking too. And so for me, it's a totally consuming activity that allows me to be by myself, just sort of reflective or whatever, and still occupied, and it's in a nice spot outside. I need nature sometimes, or else I start feeling like weird, you know? A little nature never hurt anybody.
Yeah, I think I feel that way too. And sometimes I mistake that with wanting to be around people, and then I just go around people and I fucking hate it. But yeah, the introvert feeling you're talking about. See, okay, I asked my dad the other day if social interaction came naturally to him, or I didn't really like that. I asked him if he had to put forth an effort, and he said no. But then he said that social interaction drains him. He said that people drain him, which is weird to me because I assumed he was an extrovert. See, for me, when I'm around, no matter who I'm around, even if it's with friends, there's like a part of me that starts building, and then it eventually reaches a point where it's like, okay, I need to go. I just want to be alone. I want to be alone, and it's not enough for me to be rude. If it gets too much, I will be rude, but that's very extensive. I never get there unless I don't know. I'm forced to. When I went on vacation with my family last year, and we were in this really small like cabin thing. That's one of those times where it was like I couldn't get my recharge, but I just feel like I just have to get away, and I don't know if if all introverts are. I imagine all introverts feel that universally. I'm not sure if extroverts feel that, or at the least, I think ENTPs will feel that way if they're not engaged in ideals and whatnot. I think they will
Well,
feel that way.
I mean, the thing is, I find totally unsatisfying certain kinds of social interaction that might be satisfying for somebody who's like an FE Dom or whatever, right? For me, the social interaction has to be purposeful in some sense, which is to say, um, well, right now, for example, we're talking about something that we haven't talked about before, at the very least, we're talking about a variant on a subject, you know? I like to see ideas continue to develop. I like conversations that go places, that don't get into circles. And a lot of people have very circular conversations, which is to say, they talk about conversation topics that, to the extent that they have narrative development, are along the lines of relationships or something like that, and or they talk about. Well, I mean, you know, some people are just there. People are rewarded by different things, and other people a lot, it seems, are rewarded by conversations that I don't necessarily find rewarding. So in that regard, I do want to flee certain engagements. However, I've learned a certain knack of turning people's conversation, whatever it is, if they're talking to me, into something interesting. Because I'll just ask them about their core values or whatever. I mean, I just launch right into them, basically. I don't intend to necessarily, but I'm either going to escape, like, you're not interesting to me, or if if a camera's rolling, I'll make it interesting, you know, because then all of a sudden it has this extra thing that makes it interesting. I don't care how banal you are. If the camera's rolling, then it's interesting, and I'll find a way to just make your banality itself interesting. If you're super, 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 super banal,
Yeah. If I usually I see one of the things that led me to believe I was an ENTP before as well is that I when I meet new people, sometimes I just have like an intuitive pull that I just feel like I need to get to know them, and I want to understand their like core values, like you said. I want to understand their. I'm interested in people's political views. That's something I always want to talk about. Are people's political views, and it's just really it's fun to me to get to really understand how people work. There are some people that I want to understand how they can work, perhaps to I'm not sure what the how the information benefits me whatsoever, you know, but it's I don't know.
what did you ever figure out what Enneagram tri-type you were?
Mm-mm. How would I figure that out? Is there a test or something?
Well, no, it's just you basically look at the. Let me see if I can find the thing I looked at. Let's stop this video now.
All right.